You're probably aware of, the questions from the fans because, with how Ginebra has been struggling the past few conferences, they wanted, another energy guy that, the team has lost when you left. Are there any chance that you're coming back, boss?
I don't see anything in the near future, buddy. I just had a baby boy 6 weeks ago, and family is kind of settling in here. It would have to be completely like a God-led thing, but I don't really see anything like that happening. It's kind of moved on to the stage of my life back at home.
Okay. So coming back is a very remote possibility now for Rudy Hatfield.
I wouldn't say remote. I would say very even less than remote possibility. So as far as any time soon, probably my playing days definitely over. But it would, like I said, it would have to be a complete miracle of anything happening. So I don't really see that ever happening.
Okay, but there's still a chance, huh?
I see where you're going with Snow, but no, I can't really say it's no way can I think about going.
Because you told me it's not remote, but so there's still a glimmer of hope for the millions of Ginebra fans and your fans here in the Philippines.
I'm not going to lie. I definitely think about playing. It's actually been more so this time than I ever had when I was away. Thought about going back and listening. I think because I really believe that it's over with. But and I would love. I've had the fans have been great, especially on Twitter, just being so kind and always saying positive things and inspiring me to even want to come back. But there's a lot of things that I can do here. I really think God's will for me is to be here.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And have you been monitoring the campaign of Barangay Ginebra lately? The internet?
Yeah, but as much as I can. I haven't been able to see any game, but I've followed every score, checked every box score, and read every recap. So yes, I know everything that's going on as far as much as I can read online.
Okay. So what's your take on the team right now? What do you think is missing, aside from, of course, somebody like you?
Well, I agree with what the last thing that I read about Coach Cariaso said. He needs two-way players. I actually just kind of texted him today that it was a great quote that he mentioned about that. I think that the struggle that Ginebra has always had is having guys who get excited to actually play defense, and that's it. There's just mounds of offensive talent, but guys have to want to play D and have to get out there and be excited about it. It should be somebody out there. They need to get that excitement going, and I know Jeff's the kind of guy who can do that because he was like that as a player. And if they give him enough time to do it, he will get those guys to do that kind of thing. But it's really that kind of thing. They need those guys out there have to want to play defense more than they want to play offense right now.
Okay. But what about the intensity of the players? I'm sure you have only seen a clip of the game, but basing from the comments of the fans, I'm sure they already told you about it. You think you think the players of Ginebra can still learn how to be the angst and the intensity that you showed them when you were playing for the team?
Yeah, I've like I said, it's only what I've read is the intensity in there. There's somebody needs to be. The new guys you have out there. I've only played against Slaughter a couple times, and Japeth obviously I played a few times. Those guys are very, obviously great players, athletic. And then obviously, Mark's going to continue to do his thing, but even Mark and JJ, they're both starting. JJ's older than I am, and Mark's getting up in age too. It's not so much that they still can't play; they can still play, but the day in and day out, youthful energy is going to be a struggle for those guys. So there needs to be some of that in there. Those guys that are willing to, just do intangibles. The intangibles guys are the ones that are, willing to set hard screens, dive on the floor, enjoy, turning defense into offense, and then doing all the dirty work around the area without wanting any of the glory. So that would be nice to get somebody like that. I don't know who's kind of out there. I mean, most of you look at the Sandman Coffee team. Obviously, you've got Ingers out there doing that kind of thing, and he's just phenomenal at what he does. And then, they work the guys around him. Even Raffy's out there doing those things. He does it in his quiet ways. But yeah, that's why they're successful. They have those guys that are willing to do that kind of thing, and they surround those kind of guys with the offensive guys. And Jeff was over there making those guys play defense. P.J. Simone picked up the defense. Even James Yap picked up his defense. I mean, and that's what made those guys win championships. Mm-hmm. So I don't really know how you can get somebody to become more intense. It's not really something that, all of a sudden somebody can learn. You have that intensity or don't have that intensity. Somehow they've got to come together and work in a way to get each other going.
So who do you think right now among the players of Ginebra can obviously do that?
I don't really know it. Like right now, like I said, there doesn't seem to be any one guy on Ginebra that can do that. I mean, they have to somehow collectively come together and pick each other up when it happens. I mean, I played with Chris Ellis. He's young, but he's a quiet guy out there. He can get you hyped up with his athleticism, but he's not at the point where he's ready to speak up and do that kind of thing. And it's tough over there for him because you have all these other people who are in this leadership role already that he can't really take over that role. It's not like you can't. How can you do it? You've got LA, you've got Mark and JJ, and you just and you have Mark basically. Mark who's still he's still kind of taking. It's hard for any young guy to step up in that role. It's not like when the teams were in which actually if the new teams come in, are they coming in next year?
They're coming in. This season they're coming in this season, starting on October 18th.
So today it would be great if they could kind of split up some of these teams like it was before, where you have. That's how young guys develop into leaders. If you have a whole team full of 5 guys who are all wanting to lead, how do the young guys grow up and get to be leaders?
Anyway,
it's not going to happen.
This lines that you're telling me is just for me, right? This is not for public consumption.
Which one? The leadership role?
Yeah, the leadership.
No. You can go ahead and say that to the public, that it's very difficult for a young guy to actually assume any kind of leadership position in the team when you have a team full of 5 guys, 5 veterans who are all used to being leaders on their own team. How are they going to be able to grow in that kind of role when that's happening? So having these other teams actually makes that better. So if you can kind of split them up, now you get these guys to develop, and then all the people who are supposed to be developing can develop. That's the truth. That's the way it should be.
So you think there's a shuffling of players that they never needed right now?
Well, I mean, they had an amazing chance in the All Filipino last year. That's what's coming up again. All Filipino is the next one now.
I'm not sure. All Filipino. Philippine Cup.
And they ended up first place in the regular season, right?
Yeah, and then they were eliminated by San Mig.
Even though they lost.
Yeah.
But you're eliminated by the champs. So that's still, you have an opportunity now with the All Filipino to really come back and get to where you are. What do they need to get over that little hump? They need guys that just play defense. That's what they need to do. When it comes to playoff time, they need guys who want to play defense, not just play. Get as excited about scoring as you are about stopping somebody from scoring. If you can get that kind of feeling out there, get those kind of guys to do that, and that takes time. And the problem is when you keep reshuffling players, you don't get to build that camaraderie. You don't know what your guy next to you is going to do next. You don't know how this guy's going to help you out in coverage. You don't build that relationship. How long have the San Mig Coffee guys been together? I mean, they've been together so long, they know what each other is going to do. Tim Cohn has got those guys going. He doesn't want to shuffle players around and never just keep bringing in new players and taking out new players. And, I mean, you probably could do some sort of thing within the last 2 years. How many players has Ginebra traded and brought in within those times? I mean, you just can't build a team that can do that. And, you know, hopefully they can keep what they have now. If they can keep what they have now and not shuffle anybody, they have a really good chance, I think, of winning it.
Okay. But how can they address the problem with, you know, those players who are born leaders? How can they address that? The ones who are already there leading? Yeah.
I think that's a coaching thing for me. I mean, for me, I have to talk to the veterans, and if I'm the coach, and that's something that Jeff knows a lot about. He knows the veterans. He was the captain of the team. He knows what it is. He knows how he's got to talk to the players and where they're at in their playing days. I mean, you got to say, look, you got to talk to the younger guys and say, look, we need you to step up and start playing a leadership role. Don't be intimidated by the veterans. This is kind of what you have to do in order for us to get better. You're the future of the team. And then the veterans and then he's got to talk to the veterans. You still got to play that leadership role, but you got to start learning how to pass the torch a little bit. Tell Chris, hey Chris, get him some confidence. And what do you think I should do? What do you think this should do? You know, it's got to be something where it's kind of you're starting to mold it that way. I think the only way you can do it over there at Ginebra is to have a coach, somebody like Jeff, with that kind of repertoire and that kind of player coach mentality to do something like that. So that's kind of what I would do if I were coach. I would sit down and talk to those guys individually, and then bring them in as kind of a group. Bring in the 2 or 3 of the leaders and 2 or 3 of the guys you think are going to be the guys that are going to, you know, be the future of Ginebra, and try to work them together, try to work to pass that torch. Regardless of what it is, they are going to have to step up and play defense. And we all know that's always been an issue with Ginebra.
So you think Boss Egos also has been pulling down Ginebra? Ego of the players?
Egos?
Yeah. Because, you know, there's a lot of superstars in the team.
It is. And the thing is, I don't egos have always done great for Ginebra, and then egos have always been Ginebra's downfall. So I don't think you can really pinpoint an ego being the problem, because it was the egos that got us to win championships too. It just, there has to be, you know, the egos have to all have the same vision, I guess. So that's tough. I mean, that's a tough thing. I mean, when I was out there, I pretty much yelled at everybody. I would yell. It didn't matter. I would yell. You asked Mark how often I would yell at him, and you asked the rookies how often. I mean, I was yelling at everybody. Somebody's got to take that role and build that reputation to take over that leadership role, and not judge one way or another who you're yelling at or who you're not. Just tell everybody this is how it needs to be done, and we got to do it this way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where that guy is.
And who will that be?
That's exactly the question. I like some, you know, I like to believe that there's guys that can do that, but at the same time, I remember being the guy to do that. So I don't know. I mean,
okay. So when you yelled at them, what happened next? I mean, what was the result? Did they shape up?
I mean, yeah, well, it would either, well, you know, Mark and I sometimes went back and forth, but we loved each other, but we had a love for each other. So we knew that we were just so passionate about what we did. Mark, you got to stop doing this. And when Mark made a mistake, he knew, and he would say, yeah, okay, I'm with you. And then when I yelled at him and he didn't feel like he made a mistake, he would yell back at me. And I said, and then we would just kind of go out there and take it out on the team together. I mean, that's kind of how it was. But somebody's got to not be scared to say something.
You think Mark can do that?
I don't know anymore. He's been trying to do it, but I think I don't know. I think that's left up to what Jeff thinks.
Okay. All right. Anyway,
Mark's gotten better through the years. When Mark was younger, he used to just scream random stuff. But as he's gotten older, he's actually started to learn the game better and he's actually starting to say more relevant things. I don't know. I don't know if he wants to. I don't know how much of that leadership role he wants to take. And I wish JJ would say some stuff, but he's just never been that type of guy. He likes to just let it show on the court. But they need to find a captain out there who's willing to actually be vocal and say all that he can say.
So it's not Mark, huh? Because everybody knows he's been very vocal.
Mark's been vocal for years. I mean, he was vocal even when I was there. He was vocal, but I know has he been calling people out?
Yeah. He even took it to Twitter.
He said something about Greg, right? Something one of the times, or he had mentioned or implied Greg was doing something, and Greg kind of got a little bit offended about that.
Yeah. But Mark told me it wasn't his intention to put it out in media.
Right. Yeah, I know, and I saw that there was some controversy with you on there too. So, I know you were going to ask, is this all right if I say this? And you're going to ask the questions to try. And I know you're going to ask the questions that you're going to try to get some kind of answers from in that right way, but at the same time,
I asked permission before I read it. Right? Anyway.
Yeah, and I don't know. Anyway, I don't know what. I mean, like I said, give Jeff some time to get those guys to play some defense. He will find a way to talk to them and hopefully be the vocal leader that they need there. They do need somebody on the court who is not just yelling random things, but who is, willing to do the.
Okay, so definitely you're missing the glimmer of the PBA, the glitz of the glimmer, huh?
And I miss the strategy. I miss the preparation. I miss the manliness, I guess, and like the banging around and I miss, I do miss the game altogether. But you know what? I'm truly happy with my family, and we have great things happen.
And your message to the fans of Ginebra?
Always, never say die. Stay strong. Thanks for all the love from the moment I played to the moment I stepped off the court, and even after.
Spin.